I generally don't do this, but I think you deserve super special introduction. I've told you this before. I'm going to say it again on video. You're my role model, and in this session we'll discover why. I think people will figure that out eventually. But to summarize your story in a couple of sentences, after your engineering, you decided to take a completely different tangent. You decided that you'll go on All India motorcycle tour, which you did. You traveled solo for, I think, a lot of states, and you met with an accident on the Ayodhya highway, right?
Kolkata Delhi highway near Etawah in Agra, near Agra, you can say.
And that your doctors advise you not to ride motorcycle again. So you decided that let me at least not ride motorcycle for a few years. So you decided, let me use this time and learn something new. And that's how you chose CFA. And you finished your CFA. And then a couple of years later, you went to the same place where you met with your accident, and you completed your motorcycle journey being a CFA. And today you're working in a hotshot risk management role. You're a charter holder now.
No. I have
You finished. You finished all the 3 levels.
No, I have finished two levels. I have
You
one
finished
left.
2 levels, right? Siddharaj is super impressive. It's insanely inspiring. And I must confess, I draw a lot of inspiration when I hear your stories, and I tell your stories to everyone. I think most of the students in my classroom have heard this story some or the other time. I want you to start with what made you get into motorcycles in the first place. So today is not going to be the typical boring finance conversation. I think we'll spend some time on your decision to start motorcycling, and how did you plan your trip, and then what made you choose CFA later on?
So first of all, I didn't know that I have passed level 2 when I went back to the trip because my
Okay.
result was pending. And the result was announced on 14th of August, which I could see only 24 hours later because I was in a place where there was no network.
You knew the results were going to come on 14th.
Yeah, at 8 p.m. I was just
Okay.
holding my phone and like.
Where were you? Where were you then?
I was so in Ladakh. Once you cross the Nubra Valley, normally people go towards towards Turtuk side. No, Pangong is the other side, but Turtuk side where Thang and all, like there is a place called Hunnar where it's a little touristy. So I had gone to the other side, which is the there is a Siachen base camp is on that other side. So I had just gone through just to explore, and all these places didn't have any network. Not forget internet; they didn't have BSNL postpaid network was not there. And so I couldn't call anyone and say, please check my result. I couldn't do that. And all I could do was, okay, let's hope I have passed.
Okay. And then how did you finally check it? You went to the...
Yeah, I went to a place called... Yeah, I went... there was a place on the way in the middle, which is a little, hub-like, where it's like the tri-junction between the two roads. So I went to there. There they have wired internet, which is at the speed of 2G. At least that year it was that way. I don't know about now because things were improving very fast that time. So it took me like an hour or so to open the mails, and maybe even more than 1 hour to download that this
PDF.
The result. Whether basically the curiosity then was whether you get 90 percentile or not. But yeah, I'll always remember that day.
See, we've told each other's story to us multiple times, right? But today I want to kind of get it on camera from you. So after your engineering, how did you get this whole motorcycling bug? Like, why did you? And it's a crazy idea, right? At that age, because people off the campus, they're looking for jobs. And you're one crazy guy who says, you know what, forget it. I'll buy a motorcycle and I'll travel through the country. How did that idea? Where was the genesis of it?
Frankly, I didn't have a plan of doing a ride since like childhood and nothing like that. I was just like I wanted a scooter, moped at the age of 17, 18. because that was independence. You didn't have
Hmm.
to tell your parents to drop you somewhere. You could just run
Hmm.
away. I had no plans to buy. I ride a KTM Duke 200. It is an original 2012 model. So, and I got it by accident again. I was involved a lot in all these college activities. Like we had this national level technical event for which we were going around in the city of Panji looking for sponsorship.
Yeah. By the way,
So
just for the audience, know Siddharaj is from Goa, and he studied in Panji.
Goa College of Engineering, Parmagudi, in Goa.
Okay.
So we were going around looking for sponsorship, and my friend Chinmay and I were looking around, checking, asking anything that has something technical with it for sponsorship. So he's like, let's go and check in the KTM showroom. I'm like, why would they sponsor a technical event? They're like, kuch nahi, let's go and see the bike at least. So I went to see the bike. I just love the bike. And I started, making plans of how I get one for myself. It was just about, like how typical 18 years old I like.
Hmm.
It's a super. It
लड़कियों को
was like
घुमाना
a.
है बाइक पे लड़कियों को
It was kind of
हाँ.
exotic then. So I was like, oh,
हाँ.
I have a school bike and all. But then just because I had the bike, I started riding first, little bit,
Hmm.
and I discovered this was like a, not just an adventure, but like I don't know, but
I know the
it's
feeling.
a it's a
You're the
very
reason. You're the reason I got into motorcycles in the first place, and I exactly know what you're saying. I'll just give it better words.
uh,
Uh, it's almost as if you're meditating when you're on a motorcycle ride. It's
yes.
the type of feeling that I have never experienced before.
It's I'll not get into. Yeah, I've given it like very good words. So unless I'll get lost again. So that was like a thing I discovered by slowly trying it. There's a place
Hmm.
called Murdeshwar from which is 230 kilometers from
Like
here.
a weekend rides,
They used to go there
kind
and
of
come
like
back.
weekend rides.
The adventure is to be going for college in the morning and coming back in the evening, and going to Murdeshwar and telling them that you were in college at
Hmm.
home. So it would take 5 hours to at least to ride there because it's 230 kilometers. But yeah, people used to do all those crazy stuff. So then I started thinking of doing at least a medium scale ride. So
Hmm.
I did a touchdown to Kanyakumari and came back first, and then I planned this big one.
Okay. So basically, you basically started with weekend rides. Then you did the whole Kanyakumari thing.
The weekend ride used to. So I used to not do that a lot because again it was a very scary thing that time. Like people used to do it in groups. It was like 12:30, and we were told you never go alone and all that. And I used to miss rides because people used to bail out on you. And then I decided, okay, so I thought started with Ladakh. Let's go to Ladakh, but nobody was ready to come with me. I was just 20 years old, so my parents were not ready to send me to Ladakh alone. So I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm going to the south. I didn't tell them. I told them the places and all, but they didn't have a very good. They knew Kanyakumari, but they
Hmm.
didn't know the details of.
Geography, हाँ. कितना किलोमीटर है पता नहीं था.
मतलब पापा को he had an idea, but he was, I don't know, he was very supportive also. I reached a place called Honavar and stopped for lunch. And my bike was right in front of me, where I was sitting for lunch, because it was loaded, so I couldn't let go of the side of the bike.
Sorry, which you're talking about Kanyakumari, right?
Yes.
This was when you were in final year of engineering.
Yeah, around that. Yeah,
So
almost
21 year old.
2021. Yeah, that is one point I realized. This is something is extraordinary. It's not just simple hobby or something. I just want to follow this. And then I started pursuing like who's doing what all can be done.
Hmm.
In the process, I realized doing something big is much more practical and easier than doing a lot of small things. So then I thought, okay, I planned this trip, the Pan India, right? So my thing was I had just set with a list of all the places that I want to visit in India. That is to be my hobby. In a hostel, I used to sit and just make itineraries. I took a list and then I realized like almost everywhere I wanted to visit. So I tried to make it a little bigger, and I completely inclusive. And I decided to do all 29 states. Then it was 29 states and 5 union territories other than Andaman and Lakshadweep. Yeah, so this was the plan that I thought in
So
my
you
mind.
prepared this plan while you were in the college itself?
No, not in college, just after college. After my Kanyakumari
So
ride.
आपको job की चिंता नहीं थी? You were not worried about getting a campus placement or?
वहाँ पे वो मूवी वाला खुन्नस का ये था कि अरे नहीं जॉब वॉब कौन करेगा, चलो धंधा स्टार्ट करते. In fact, I did.
So your plan was to basically do this ride and then start doing some business?
Not really. So I wanted to do business. My passion was traveling. I wanted to run a business because it was cool, maybe. And then and this was something parallelly going on. But then I decided, okay, maybe I can start something in the. वो Three Idiots का वगैरह बहुत effect हो रहा था तभी. So I was like, let's start something in the same.
It was released around the same time, right?
Yeah, it was released near my 12th standard or so. So approximately that time. So yeah, everyone was like, yeah, follow your passion, follow your passion. But I didn't do this trip because of the business thing. That was the trip was like the most important thing to me. Business, actually, I thought of starting something. Then because of this thought of this Three Idiot kind of thought, I thought of starting it in the travel field. And I was having plans to eventually turn it into motorcycle travel, but then things change. So basically, I started with a package touring company where we would just take.
This is before you did All India.
Yeah.
All India, right?
Yes.
So just when you were in the college itself. Okay, after graduation, but before the ride.
Yes.
A package tour company like Cox and Kings and Kesari.
Kind of, yeah. Yes.
It was for students. I mean, do college students take package tours?
For the college trips. I didn't have any plans of doing this business or anything. It was just, I just always wanted to do something different, something, एक step आगे kind of. And not in normal stuff, not in studies, वो तो हो ही जाता था कभी कभी, पर it was like हाँ नहीं कुछ ऐसे करना है, मतलब I used to run a business in college. I used to run a computer assembly business in when I was 17 years old. I had taken a special trip to Leamington Road in my preparatory holiday just to get supplies for my business. After taking finance from my classmates and all, it was, and I did pay them back with a very high interest and all. Yeah, but it was an experience.
So just to give structure to your story. So you're this kid from Goa who doesn't want to go the usual path. So you try variety of businesses while you're in the college, your computer assembly and travel and tours business. And then I think a year after your college, you eventually started your ride.
Yeah, no, I started my riding towards the end of my
All India ride.
Yeah, it was in 2015. So I ended my college in 2013.
So a couple of years after that.
Yes. Then I started the business, and then I started running it. We did a few seasons, like it was going final. Then I had these plans of doing it after a couple of years. I'll set some things up and then I'll go. But then I realized it will be much more difficult then. So it's much better to start as early as possible. And immediately, I decided, because the only thing that was time dependent was the seasons. So I could be anywhere. I shouldn't be in the wrong place in the wrong season. Everything else is manageable. I can be away from June to June or Jan to Jan, or that doesn't matter, right? The only thing that matters is I shouldn't be waiting for the road to open Ladakh in December. That would be stupid. So I just took a general direction, and then I started in March of 2015, 16th March.
So you started in the month of March, which means that was more or less a good time to head towards the north.
Yeah, so I wanted
because then you get the whole summers to do the north. I mean, logically, that's how I would have planned it.
What I thought, I wanted to do the northeast. before
Okay.
like end of summer and the early monsoons,
Right.
where
Makes
you can get
sense.
the both of best of both
And
worlds there.
and to do Northeast, then you have to travel through the whole country to reach there.
Yeah, so I just cut across. So I was in Goa, so I cut across to the eastern coast.
Hmm.
This explored nice places on the way, like some were famous like Hampi and all. But there was
Hmm.
this place called Gandikota, which is like new place, like it's called the Grand Canyon of India,
Yeah,
and it is a
Andhra
very
Pradesh.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like some of those, and then caught the east coast, went towards Kolkata,
Hmm.
then towards
No,
Siliguri,
no,
then went towards.
wait. Sorry. I'm going to cut you between. So I know that when you left,
Yeah,
your family must have done your RP and all those things must have happened, right? Because it's a very ambitious, big thing to start.
yeah,
How
yes.
were you feeling 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers into the ride? Was there a lot of nervousness, enthusiastic, or you were a little scared?
Yeah, I was just 22 years old, and
Uh,
people were like, my friends were asking me, what if you get bored in 10 days, what will you do?
hmm,
I just like, maybe I gave this answer to them just because it was cool that time, I don't know, but I was like, I'll just turn back and come home. And then I had that thought in my mind while starting कि कुछ नहीं है, worst case scenario. I didn't think of accidents and all, but I thought I have done rides. If I am not able to make it, if I like physically feel weak or anything, I'll just make it slow and come back. First, of course, as you know, you asked 50 kilometers because first few kilometers, so it's like any normal ride. You must be experienced. You must have had an experience of that by now. But after that, so Goa border comes very quickly. So
hmm,
once I crossed the Goa border, one thought was I'm going to come back to Goa in like minimum 6 months.
hmm,
I've never done that. Six
hmm.
months out of a state, never done that. So I don't know, like this road. I was like checking everything out, like a little more and all, and then it was there for another 50 100 kilometers. The scale of the trip was there in my mind, and by after 150 kilometers or 200 kilometers, like just another ride. Then things like weather started heating up, and you're like pani
Hmm.
chahiye, and you plan to reach before nightfall, and all that the calculations come, and
Yeah.
then it was again a normal ride. Day one just happened that way.
Yeah. No, the reason why I asked, see, last year, I did the Himachal ride, right?
Hmm,
So when I left from Pune, and that was
hmm,
my first long ride. All
hmm,
my rides prior to it were
hmm,
Khadakwasla, like 20, 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers,
hmm.
Lonavala type of rides. So when I left for Himachal, मैंने सबको बोल तो दिया कि लड़का हिमाचल जा रहा है but I knew, like, I didn't know if I would be able to pull it off.
Hmm.
So I had a lot of conflicting thoughts when I started my ride, like, whether I'll be able to do it or not with no
Hmm.
riding experience whatsoever. And first day I reached Gujarat border,
Hmm.
uh, and then next day in the morning I started having feelings as if maybe I should take a U-turn, return back. It's becoming too much. So I stopped at some place prior to Ahmedabad. No, I think very early, right after entering Gujarat.
Hmm.
Uh,
Navsari maybe.
some place I don't remember. And what I did is I took a picture of myself with the motorcycle, and I
Hmm.
posted that on Instagram saying I'm doing this just
Point
to
of no return. Yeah.
yeah, commit to it. फिर वो हो जाता है. I think then for me, like, the first few hours were a little challenging.
Ah. Yeah, it's here. It's mostly
It's
here.
here, yeah,
Right.
it's here. That's true. So okay, so you started from Goa. So you went through Karnataka, Andhra. What
Yeah,
was the route?
Hampi,
Then
Karnataka. First night,
so you
Andhra.
went to Hampi.
Yeah, Hampi. Right.
Then
Yeah, I
you
stayed
went
there.
to Andhra.
Then Andhra. Yeah.
Then
Yeah, Andhra. So from Gandikota, I caught the east coast.
hmm,
Along the east coast, and then I went to. I turned towards Odisha.
hmm,
Did a few places there because I had the thought of also doing all 29 states.
hmm.
Uh,
So you
it's
kind of
not that.
wanted to. go through every state and at least spend some time.
Yes, and it's not that I wouldn't have gone to Odisha otherwise or something like that, but I would have, done it more slower, spend more time there from the other direction or something like
Hmm.
that. It's just that I wanted to reach northeast as soon as possible so that I get good amount of summer and
Hmm.
early monsoons, so that I can see both obviously.
So
So
Orissa, then West Bengal.
yeah, then I came down to Andhra border again, then west. So sorry, Odisha. Before Odisha, from Andhra, I went towards Chhattisgarh.
Hmm.
Uh, Chhattisgarh, Chitrakoot Falls, So basically,
Hmm.
2 3 places, 2 3 days in Chhattisgarh came down. I wanted to go to Bhilai and all those places, but I couldn't do it in this side, from this side. So I came down, and then I went to Odisha. Odisha, say, I went to West Bengal. West Bengal, I went there. I reached Kolkata. I was like, this pampered chota bacha. Just matlab, like I was telling in my mind, I was like, मैं कहाँ देहात से आया हूँ, and you guys are living in city life. I used to think that I should not, and I used to, because everything, it was not such a big deal, but I used to think that way. It was a beginning of and things were easier then. I had to get my bike serviced and all that. So I got all that done. I went to Sundarbans and all that, and then I came back to Kolkata and went towards Siliguri.
Hmm.
So yeah, so from Siliguri I went to the Assam border, and there the Northeast Seven Sisters started. First I went to Tezpur. Tezpur se Arunachal,
Hmm.
Tawang side. So that was
Nice.
in like I remember the riding in Arunachal. Every 10 kilometers, I used to stop and like, आगे क्यों जाना है, or like how can it be better than this?
Hmm.
So and I used to stop, and then someone used to come and like, don't stop. थोड़ा safe जगह पे जाके stop. There
Hmm.
was not, we had not heard anything, but it is like the population density there is very low. So there are some activities at that time, and now though I don't think so. But so they were
You're
like,
talking about
don't,
Naxalite threats,
kind of, kind of.
especially on this which side, Assam side or
No, in Arunachal, in
Arunachal?
Arunachal. So and it was like these white waters and beautiful. Arunachal was beautiful. So then I went till Tawang and then Bamla border. Like proper, there's this typical stone which is half India, half China, and all that. So
Hmm.
all that, all that experience talking to people. The colonel there was surprised that I have reached here on a bike. It is 15,150 feet. There are a lot of Innovas that come there, and there are not many riders. The height is not that much compared to say some places in Ladakh, but nobody goes there. Like that time, nobody used to go there. I was the only rider who was there in months. So they're like, bike se yahan pahuncha. I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah. So then he rode my bike. He took a ride and all that, and they were very happy, and they treated me very nicely. They showed me a lot of stuff, and yeah. So accidentally, the one of the districts of Arunachal, the DM madam from there was visiting, and they were so she, of course, there was some state protocol for her and all, but they were treating like, for her it was more like a formality, and they were treating me as nicely and her as her, and then
Hmm.
talking even more to me. So that felt like really good. They were, yeah.
Throughout this time, you were mostly staying in your tent. You were not getting into hotels
No,
or
no.
those
In
kind
the
of places.
beginning, no. In the beginning, though, I was like completely like a typical tourist. I just went
Hmm.
to hotels, like cheapest hotels, but hotels. First, it goes from hotels to other places, like looking for hostels, looking for just temple ke bahar so jaओ. There were not proper hostels that time, like they were now. I realized that in the second phase. But first, that is one reason I think if I'd started the journey now in the sense, maybe after my 25, the age of 25 or 26, I would have done it much cheaper. Of course, considering inflation. When I was like 22 years old, it was like, okay, what if he does something? You have still have that kiddish this. And in the beginning, I was staying a lot in hotels. So yeah, so
That must have
then
been expensive, right? Because you need a room every night, and you were out for what, almost 6-7 months.
yeah, so I started living in like these cheap, like sasta, bahut like you're not sure whether the washroom is going to be clean kind of hotel.
Hmm.
So I used to go
Decent
check the washroom.
types. Decent hotel, decent.
used to
समझ
go
रहा हूँ.
डिसेंट लुकिंग जो होटल डिसेंट लुकिंग टाइप का दिखने वाला होटल में भी जाता था मैं वहां पे देखता था कि ये दिखाओ रूम दिखाओ तो यूज्ड टू शो मी द रूम आई यूज्ड टू गो एंड चेक द वॉशरूम द वॉशरूम इज फाइन आई यूज्ड टू चेक इन वो क्या होता था लाइक स्मॉल टाउन्स उतना महंगा वो रेट निकाल ही नहीं सकते बट या दैट इज व्हाई आई थिंक कि आई कुड हैव डन इट मच चीपर नाउ
Sorry, I'm cutting you a lot in between. I'm
no
just
no
curious. I'm
that's
getting a lot of questions. So, um, so by the time you reach Northeast, it was what, a couple of months?
Yeah, it was a month, a little more than a month. I lost a lot of time in Bengal because of like so when I was in Kolkata, this is not something to laugh about. I was in one of the rooms and an earthquake actually hit. It was a Nepal earthquake. Things were like just people it was disorientation for some time. I couldn't get stuff and all for like this. That was one of the small, and it was there for a few days. So there were aftershocks and all. Then after a point, I only became a little lethargic in Kolkata because I was in this room eating food and watching TV, and you're like, kal jate, and all that. This. So then I had to only get out of my mind and just leave one day, and all that. So small. I lost some time there. I lost some time in Siliguri. My phone broke down. Wasted a lot of time in getting it repaired, but finally I had to buy a new phone. And for me, it was like a big deal. The cost of a phone was like maybe 20 days of trip for me. So I was okay with spending some time there because I was in a very cheap place in Siliguri. And then so 1.5 month to Northeast, and then nicely Arunachal, I would say another little more than a week, just chilling there, looking for places, like going to different places. By then, it was a little like the summer was almost over, and the rains had started. So I had these nice plans of going to Majuli and Dibrugarh, and so I couldn't do all that. The Kaziranga and all that.
It's impossible, right? Majuli is anyways not possible once monsoons start.
Yeah, and this was like early monsoons kind of.
But they're building a bridge there now.
Majuli,
Okay.
I had heard
That's
that,
what
but
I
I
heard.
don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Northeast done. Another month in Northeast. Then what did you do after that?
Yeah, so So then I visited the rest of the states, came down towards.
So Meghalaya, Nagaland, you went that direction as well.
Yeah. So when the flooding and all the news came in, so I turned towards Nagaland. Then Manipal came down, Mizoram, Tripura, all that. And
so you went to Mizoram and Tripura as well.
Yeah, yes. So these places were like, in fact, I remember Mizoram was something I was very curious about because when we were in like 7th standard or something, we had this big geography textbook, and there we were taught just ratta, nahi, state and uska capital. Uska ratta marne ka exam mein aayega. Okay. So I just took the map and I was like, which is the like farthest one for us. So like Mizoram is so far. I'm like, what would that be? And like how when you are in school, you're like, it must be something like Paris or something very different. Log kya karte honge? Like when you're in school, you think only Indian people do like go to work and come back, and maybe people in US just do what Hollywood does and something like that because you're a child. So I was wondering what was the case there? Log kya karte honge and all that. So then when I was sitting there in Mizoram, and I was talking to one of the local guys. I made a lot of friends on the way. So and then we were like thinking of connections. So Goa was like a place everyone had heard of. Not everyone, but in that direction, there were people who have also asked me, "ये Goa कहाँ पड़ता है?" And I had to tell them Mumbai के आगे. But still, like city people had heard about Goa, and we were like discussing all this, and then I remember this suddenly, and that was like a big goosebumps moment for me. Ki, yeah, finally I'm here on a bike, and
मिजोरम में फिर लोग करते क्या है?
so it's a hill state. उनका typical ये है. There is a lot of bamboo based this. In fact, वहाँ पे delicacy है bamboo. Almost हर मील में मिल जाता है. पहले you are not once you get used to it, मस्त लगता है. मतलब it's tasty. But you in the beginning you are not used to it. You're like, अरे ये थोड़ा कैसे खाए? But then it's fun. Met someone on कोई होटल ढूंढ रहा था. कोई कोलासिब करके एक वहाँ पे छोटा सा टाउन है. वहाँ पे एक ही होटल है. So I was looking for a hotel. I asked these two guys for direction. They told me something. Then after some time, they're knocking on my room. I'm like, how do you know I'm here? They're like, एक ही तो होटल है. And like, one of the friend is like, इसको मेरे को दिखाना था आपका भाई, इसलिए लेके आया all the way. So you are like in the evening you are going drinking and all that. So must time. These experiences were all these small things were happening in all those areas. फिर then हाँ फिर for मेरे लिए तो छोटी चीजें भी बहुत बड़ी थी. जैसे कि बांग्लादेश का बॉर्डर ऐसे देखना from अगरतला was a big deal for me because मैंने ऐसे बॉर्डर नहीं देखा था. Even Nepal ka border, I met a guy on the road from Siliguri to Alipurduar, where this guy was riding a BMW. GS वगैरह नहीं था, कुछ normal bike था, and his number plate was weird. So he sees me wearing all the gear, he stops me, and he says he's from Bhutan. He's like, why don't you come to my house? I'm like, I didn't go. I was also in this idealistic thought कि ये Pan India ride है, Bhutan next time जाएंगे. And that was stupid, I know. But yeah, so he's like, just come to my house. You're like, border cross, that I'll see. Just come to my house. In Nepal you can directly enter, but Bhutan you have to do some paperwork for the bike at least. So he's like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. So yeah, so all these experiences were happening, and then I was going from. So I came towards Siliguri, and then went to Gaya, Bodh Gaya in Bihar, and from there Varanasi. वहाँ से I was going from Varanasi to Agra. This was 12th July to 2015. 4 months after I started, around 10,000 something kilometer was done. 17 states maybe were done. And on the highway on 12th July, I met with this accident.
How many months after starting the ride?
4 months.
4 months. Okay.
16 March to 12th July. A little less than 4 months.
Were you hit by someone?
No, it was just a timing thing. I normally didn't ride at night. I was going. It was a little late. The area people recommended me not to stop in that area because they were like, things like you have a lot of things that can be stolen. So I was going. It was night. I don't remember being very fast. Also, it was raining, and it was just bad timing of a dog jumping in front of my front tire. And the next moment I was down and unconscious. And
were you very fast?
No, as far as I remember, I was at 670, 80. My bike is not that powerful. It's a 200. It's very powerful for a 200cc, but it cannot go 160s and all. So, and because it was night time anyway, I was a little slower and careful. And
it was drizzling.
Yeah, it was. So I couldn't be more than 90. Chalo. I think 70, but max 90. So it was just I was down and on the road. Um,
Were you on the like uh, side of the road or
no. I was on the second lane, like the
in the
fast
middle
lane.
of the road? In the
Yes,
middle of the road.
yes. I was. I remember. I think it was a three-lane road. I don't remember, but I was in the. It was a Bada two-lane road. But I was because the dog jumped from the divider, so the
Hmm.
max I could go was this much. Matlab, not more than half a lane.
Hmm.
So, but he almost jumped on my leg, on my this front tire, and I was down. And then I remember waking up. I usually get like these lucid dreams which are quite real, and so normally the stupid things happen in the
In the
scenes where,
dreams.
but they're in real stuff, like in some class or in office in my house. So it's not like some beautiful place or something. So I thought when I woke up, I was like, maybe, and sometimes realize that I'm dreaming. How can this be reality? I'm dreaming. So when I woke up, I'm like, am I sleeping on the road? No, how can that be possible? So I'm dreaming. Just wake up, wake up, wake up. And I don't know after how long I realized ki, no, I was on this Pen India ride. I was actually riding. This is a real accident, and I have to get up. So then I don't. So I couldn't feel this hand at all. So I remember this moment. I had to do, touch. It was on the upside, like I was fallen in a like a weird position, and I had to check if this hand is still there. मेरे को मतलब सबसे पहला डर वही लगा हाथ कट तो नहीं गया kind of, because I couldn't feel it at all. So then it was there. Then I can feel both of my legs, but one leg मतलब I can't move it at all. The other leg, there is the bike ka pichla tire ka one of the bag is on my other leg. So the whole bike is basically on my other leg. So I can't flick it away because it's too heavy for me to flick it away. And the only thing that is okay is my this left hand. And I realize I can't do anything, so I just have to call for help. So I started shouting help, help. And a very stupid thing happened also. I realized after a few minutes that I'm in UP. So I started shouting "Bachao, bachao." I don't know why I remembered this happened. And then like cars were passing by. I couldn't. I don't know. There's a story for that. People told me later on, but the people are not stopping, and I was half conscious. So I maybe it was just my imagination. I don't know, but I remember after some time, the same divider, the other side, there's someone like cops on a two wheeler, and they ask me, "Arey kya hua re?" So I'm still shouting help, help, and then after, because I lost the sense of my time. So in my timeline, the next few seconds they are next to me. So they're like holding me and like kya hua tera and all that. So then they asked me, where are you from? Where were you going? All that. They call at my home, and then basically sitting there, I am. So they call for an ambulance. I am just like sleeping there. Then people start stopping. They start asking me for valuables and kuch hai, we are cops, but I have no sense of all of this. I just have like some time back I was worried मेरा हाथ कट गया है, so I have no idea क्या phone क्या camera क्या I don't care. I'm like they ask me घर I think I tell someone कि मेरा phone somewhere it's there somewhere because they were trying to call, but it's locked or something. And so then I tell घर का number, they call there, and then they call for a ambulance, and I am waiting there, and then they took me to Saifi Medical College, which was 50 kilometers from there. And then for the next 2 days I was there. Luckily, I didn't have any surface damage or blood loss because I was wearing all the gears. But there was a lot of internal damage, and yeah, so lot of fractures. So the leg I could feel had fractures. There were fractures here. Then the hand was like completely dead because of some nerve damage and all. So from there I go from Saifi, then I go to Agra. The next day my dad comes there. It takes him. He takes the first flight to Delhi, but still takes him like the whole day to just reach to me, because because it's a little remote from there. So then he takes. Then we go to Agra to Delhi, then back to Goa. Then 6 hours long surgery in Pune, Dinanath Mangeshkar, and then like 2.5 years of physiotherapy. First 1.5 2 years I was like doing physiotherapy twice a day, going to two different places. सुबह जाके फिर एक जगह पे फिजियोथेरेपी, शाम को जाके वापस, like a little different techniques, but yeah, basically for my head to because it has to relearn to treat the new nerves and all. So that was it. So then that in that span I lost a lot of like basically I had to do physiotherapy the whole time, and I couldn't do much else according to my schedule. I had to do everything according to the schedule of the physiotherapist, because one of the very good physiotherapist was working at a government hospital, so you can't get his schedule change. He has to serve everyone. So and I had to see him. So then I was sitting. I don't know. That was a time where I was just thinking and doing physiotherapy, because my priority was to recover my hand. So yeah. When I went back to Goa, it took me another. I was in bed for another month or so, maybe even more. Then I started walking. Then 6 7 months later, the surgery took place. After the surgery, another 2.5 years. So then after the surgery, like 6 months after the, like 3 4 months after the surgery, I was okay, except for the like a lot of my upper body. Like I could read and walk around and do stuff like that. So I was sitting at home and thinking, ki, what else can I do? Because other than traveling 1 month, because when I turned 18, there were two things which I just wanted like crazy. One is the driving license, and second was PAN card, because I just wanted to create a trading account just to just because it's cool. I wanted a trading account.
Okay.
In fact, I like the markets and all, but I didn't know much about them. I have lost some money in college on the markets. In fact, there also it was like I remember where we were in second year or something. Our final year students of engineering had come were having some placement day. A big IT company had come in the campus, and they were doing their placement rounds. So on the same day, I remember sitting in library and just going buying the stock of that same company on intraday and showing it off to people. Like, yeah, look at you guys will just work for the company. See, I'm buying it and all stuff like that. So all these weird reasons for why I started. I was interested in the markets. So that so these like because of reasons like this, I had made a PAN card and I had a trading account. But I never put in proper effort to know stuff, learn it well, and all that. So I started reading. Started understanding markets and all.
This
Uh,
was during that 2.5 year window when you're
yeah.
doing physiotherapy.
Yes. 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 So I learned about these NISM exams, which were conducted by this SEBI. Some of them were also compulsory for some brokerage dealership roles and all. So first, so in fact, that is when I learned about CFA first. And CFA was something which sounded very interesting to me, because the least of those 10 subjects were like, "Arey, wow!" This was the best combination of subjects for me. This is something I want to learn, and this exam also has some good value in the market, so that will be like an extra thing, and why not go for it? So in fact, my education attitude for before this was very, you know, jugadu kind of. I used to get good marks in school and all, without trying much, because those, like, at the lower levels the exams were a little, they were lenient. And then by the time I was in 10th standard, everyone was very excited about the board percentage and I was like, why do you need to score for boards? You just need to get enough mark to get your stream in your college, whichever college. So with all those attitudes, I had never given proper this to education. But when I saw learned about the CFA syllabus and what all it contains, I was like, no, I want to if not anything, if even if I don't use it ever, I just want to understand, I want to learn whatever it offers. So but it was of course a big deal. It was a lakh rupee exam in that time, and I didn't know whether I could do it and stuff like that. So I went and answered this NISM exam. Just like I answered like 3 exams in like a week or something, and got very decent scores, like very good score, I would say. And people started asking me about, why are you doing it, because are you working somewhere and all. So I started counter asking them, okay, where do you get job based on this? So like what?
Hmm.
So some of them were dealers at brokerages, and it was compulsory for them to do the derivatives exam.
Hmm.
So he's like, yeah, I got a job as a dealer, so that they have told me to do this. I'm like, acha, okay, I can try to get that job. Maybe in my mind, I was like, okay, maybe I'll learn something there and all that. So, so there was I spoke to people. There was one place where I about jobs and all, but that was a very small part of it, like these brokerage jobs and all. But during this process, I saw your. So basically, I was researching about what CFA is, and I saw on YouTube. I just searched, and your "What is CFA" video was like a.
Yeah.
It was like a very precise, detailed video that popped up, and the way your like explanations and everything were, I want to meet you, because I've never done this. I've never met even teachers, or people. Some people have it in them to network and all. I don't, and but I just was very curious to meet you also. So, during the because of the surgery, I had to go to Pune for regular visits. So during one of those visits, I we planned a little, like plus minus 2 days, and I could come to Fintry, and then it was a different journey from then. Again, I had registered for level one on the last day, like an engineer. I remember it was mid August, and then when I came to Pune in September, till then I had not opened any books, and I was like, okay, ho jayega, like typical engineering attitude, and then I spoke to you, and then you gave me this proper. I remember we spoke for 1.5 hours, and out of which 1 hour 15 minutes was about traveling and
Hmm.
other stuff. And then you give me very precise solution to what you diagnosed my problem and gave me a very precise solution in like 5-10 minutes, uh, and 2-3 options in that. Um, so I remember I said what. So the solution which I took was I was shifting to Pune, and doing it there, because so I remember you told me you don't have enough time. You have to put a lot of hours every day, because it's only 75 days for the exam left, and you have not done much, and most of the classes are over and all that. It's just that if you stay here, I can track your progress, and that was a thing for me. So I came. I remember I came to Pune on 22nd September, and immediately, directly there was one morning batch where I just joined in the class, and then the whole journey of level one started. It was not very difficult for me because of the way of studying, because of like watching videos and solving Q&A and then solving. So that was why it was a little, because that the whole thing was, you could sit for hours. It was not boring. It was fun. So we prepared somewhat, giving a lot of efforts since from 22nd September to, I remember,
You
my
were writing
exam.
the November exams.
No, it was December then.
December
2nd
exams.
of December.
Yeah.
2nd of December was the exam date.
Mumbai.
Yeah, Mumbai, Thakur College. So I remember on 6th of November, there was this crash course for 3 days, and I come to Fintri, and one of our faculty there, like Vaibhav, he was like, you look sick. You should go to a doctor. I was like, "Arey, bukhar pe kaun doctor ke paas jata hai?" And he forced me to take. He sent someone, a peon, to with me to the doctor. He rode me to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Okay, you look very dehydrated. We need to do a few tests." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Jo test karna hai karo." And then I come back and I'm like, I'm not going to miss anything, and itna mehnat kiya and all that. And by evening, I go back to the doctor. He's like, "We have detected dengue in you, so we'll start the treatment tomorrow." I'm like, "What?" Now what do I do? I'm just thinking, like, how do I tell sir is it possible for me to go home, or like, because I didn't, because dengue was a scary word. It was, people were getting hospitalized and dying because of it, and I didn't want to go to that clinic for treatment, because it was a very small clinic. It was a local clinic. I was lucky enough that they detected my, they did the diagnosis well. So then I came back, told Vaibhav, the news reached you, and I'm making my this to just ask you whether if I can go home. And then for the first phase, the first time that I see you, like, you should go home and just come for the exam, and it is going to be all good. So I go back home. I have a ticket booked from Goa because I had no plans of going to Pune before. So when the day I had registered for the exam, I was like, exam pe to jaane hi wala hu. So I registered for I booked a air ticket to Goa, to Mumbai. I travel on the same flight. I reach the exam center, and I don't know what levels everyone else is, because uh, uh, I've done most of the test alone. I've done almost everything alone. So then I talk to you about, like, SS score aa rahe hai, and you're like, हाँ कुछ tension नहीं, पढ़ाई बंद करो. You don't have to study anymore. You will pass. So I'm like, okay, that is a good feeling. And then the exam went pretty good. The level one I got a 90 percentile score, and yeah, I remember that day. That was like a great day. Like, for the exam is, yeah, one thing. The CFA, the things that you'll get after that is one thing, but that happiness of, because I had not given importance to any educational thing in my life ever, and giving that dedication and doing something properly, which is not like, it is fun, but it is not like, it's still exam, right? So that feeling was also like a very great feeling.
So you did level 1, level 2 studies back to back.
Yeah, I did level 1 in June. December, and level 2 in June.
And you also interned with me, I think, on a few research projects in the interim, right?
Yeah, so we were that time we were doing a little bit of
Holding
this.
company, we were doing.
No, that was later on, but that time we were doing all these mini strategy things like study cubes and yeah, research the lesser
Yeah, I
that
think
time.
you were working on study cubes for a while as well. I remember.
Yeah,
Correct.
so that
Okay.
that was going on. Yeah.
So level
So
one done, 90th percentile. Level two exams done.
your voice is breaking. So.
So level one done, level two done. Exams were done.
Yes.
Then what made you decide कि अब वापस जाके bike ride शुरू करना है?
So that's another interesting. This of I missed of the story. The day I came and met you, right, in Pune, the first time. Okay, I was crazy enough to tell everyone, even during the accident phase, that I want to, not everyone, but many people, that I want to resume the trip. Because A, it was incomplete. B, it was the best time of my life. I don't want to miss out on having more of it. So why should I not do it? If there is something that I live for, is that not like it's a big word, but इससे बेटर तो कुछ होने ही वाला नहीं है लाइफ में. मतलब मे बी बिगर राइड और समथिंग, बट it nothing else. No, not being being a CEO also of some company might not give me so much happiness. I don't know, I've not been, but I had a thought like that. So these were my two main this. पहले तो मेरे को पूरा ऑल 29 स्टेट करना था, मेरे दिमाग में वो घुस गया था. एंड सेकेंडली वो आई जस्ट वांटेड टू लिव दैट लाइफ, दैट टाइम अगेन. So immediately after my accident, I was telling people that I want to complete my trip, and it actually started with people laughing at me. Like, I want to complete my trip. I'm like, okay. So there was like no middle path. कि ऐसे अरे what are you saying? गुस्सा वुस्सा नहीं कर रहे थे लोग, just हंस रहे थे और चले जा रहे थे. तो I'm like, okay, मैं सबको नहीं बता सकता, थोड़ा कंट्रोल करने. So I had to think कि किसको बताना है, किसको नहीं बताना. So I remember after we spoke for a long time about the trip on the first time, I told you कि I am planning to resume the trip. Like, so we were discussing about how it's going to be CFA wise and all. And I'm like, sir, मेरे को ऐसे करना है कि I maybe after level 1, 2 or something, it's like sometime I want to go and resume my trip. And you're like, you should. And that was like a first. I was in one of the other than some of the army officers, but there were some people I met on the journey, but real adults that supported me. You were the first one who were like, okay, you should do it. And that was a big this again for me, support.